Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Bryan with DD214 Transport. Please like, subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications. That way you'll be updated the next time I post. Guys, share these videos with some brothers and sisters out there that may be in need of a change of venue. Also, share these videos with people that are trying to get into business. And make sure that they understand what's going on. You know, I'm trying to send some knowledge your way, so pass it around. Today, I am reaching out to you to discuss pickup and delivery. But first, I'll give you an update. I got Bessie back. That's my truck. I had her a new pair of shoes put on her, and which is a wrap. I had the wrap put on her. And so here's some pictures of that. I'm kind of liking it. So this way, listen, if you see me out on the road now, you'll definitely know it's me. You don't have to ask. So let's get down to pickup and delivery. Although it seems like it should be fairly straightforward. As you know, I purchased 86 Dispatch, and as I've been learning to dispatch, I have realized that a lot of people do not know the nomenclature of this business and what it's really for, and it's extremely important to understand this. Pickup and delivery seems like, well, I'm going to run in, get it, take it, and leave. And I guess at its simplest form, that's it, but there's a lot that goes into it that you have to be aware of, or you're not going to get paid. Okay, so, or even worse, you could, well, not worse, but even more so, you could get cheated. So, I want to talk to you, well, hold. Good morning, Ricky. Have a cup of coffee, buddy. I can't live without this stuff, man. This is just what makes me move in the morning. Without it, my heart doesn't even kick off. All right, so let's talk about the beginnings, okay? Here you are setting empty. 86 or your dispatch service, or maybe even you, whoever is looking for a load. They find a load. Well, what's going to happen now is you're going to get what's called a rate confirmation / rate con. What this does is it tells you on this load that you've agreed to over the phone, this puts it in writing. Such and such a company is going to pay you so much money to transport this piece from point A to point B. And it will normally have the size and weight of that piece on there. Should have it. Okay. Once that's signed and returned to the broker, you are able to go get that piece. All right, so you show up at the shipper, and you're going to walk in, and you're going to look for shipping and receiving, find out where that's at, find the person in charge that can help you, and then you're going to say, hey, you got something going to wherever it's going? Yes, I do. Okay. Now at this point, it's time to look at the load that's actually being picked up. And guys, this is important. This is really put your listening ears on. This is important. When you check this load out, they're going to bring you a bill of lading, okay, a BOL. What is a BOL? The BOL is the contract, the legal document for you to move that freight. You do not pick up and drive away from there if you don't have a BOL in hand or a BOL digitally sent to you. And just so you know, I am not a fan of the digital BOL. I'll tell you now. And I'll tell you why. Whatever device you receive that digital BOL on, if you are pulled over for a random and that BOL is on that device, you could end up having to hand your phone over or your tablet to the officer so he can go take that information down. Well, in that case, you know, he's got access to your computer. You're just giving him access. He can look at whatever he wants to. So if you got pictures in there of your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever, so that's not my that's not my favorite way to go. I would rather have a hard copy so I can hand it to him and send it to him, because you're going to have signatures on this thing at the end run anyway. All right, so once you get the BOL, you double check it, make sure it's going to have the load number. It's going to have the broker's number. It's going to have the shipper's address, the receiver's address, the commodity, the length and the weight, the dimensions of the product, okay, as to what they are claiming it is. You double check that and make sure your rate con's the same thing. So the next thing you want to do is you want to pull out your tape measure, because you want to make sure that this piece of freight is the right dimension, because they have purchased a certain amount of space on your deck. That's what they're purchasing, and that's all you have to sell, guys. You have space and weight. Those two things on a trailer are finite. You only have so much length, you only have so much weight you can carry. So you make sure that thing, if it says it's 19 feet, you make sure it's 19 feet. Okay? Because they didn't buy 24 feet. They bought 19 feet. Now, this just recently happened to my friend Steve. He got loaded, and then the boys wanted him to throw a bunch of stuff in the back of his truck. Well, they didn't rent the back of his truck. You don't do that, guys. This stuff has to be prepped for shipment. If it's not prepped for shipment, do not take it or make them prep it for shipment. And it must fit within that space that they bought. Now, Steve learned a hard lesson as he went down the road, and this stuff they threw in the back of his truck rolled around. Next thing you know, it grabs his emergency breakaway cable, locks up his trailer. Well, guess whose problem that is now that he's got flat spots on his tires? Well, that's Steve's. Absolutely Steve's. He accepted the freight as it was. So, you want to inspect the freight. You want to make sure there's no damage on this freight before you take it. And you always take pictures of it before they load it, while they load it, after it's strapped down, and when they remove it at the other end. Okay, so let's get back to the bill of lading real quick. So the bill of lading is your contract. It is basically what allows you to haul this across state lines. If you don't have a bill of lading, you could be charged with interstate commerce of stolen goods or interstate trafficking in stolen goods. So it's extremely important to make sure you have this bill of lading. It is signed by the shipper. You check the freight. You make sure the freight meets the weight and dimensions. Now, there's going to be some times when you're going to get a really weird piece of freight. With this weird piece of freight, you're going to have to ask the shipper how to strap it down or chain it down, or how they would like it to be moved, because sometimes things are just so weird that it boggles the mind on how you're going to actually strap it down without damaging it. And that's a key. Don't damage what you're hauling. So you get to the point where now you've had it, you've got your bill of lading. Everything matches up fine, there's no issue. If there is an issue, stop. You either need to call your dispatcher or call the broker and get this issue before you roll out. Because guys, remember, once you roll out, you own it. You own it. Now that you've got it strapped down, let's talk about just a little bit of safety real quick. For the first 20 miles, you have to understand that every load settles. Doesn't matter what it is, it's going to settle. It's going to find its riding point. Whether you're running chains or you're running straps, within the first 20 miles or so, more than likely those things will settle and come loose. So I make it a habit within the first 20, 25 miles, I pull off an exit and just check, see what's there. I do it again at about 50. Once you hit 50, things should have settled enough to where you're not going to have to really worry. But you always want to be vigilant of what your straps, what your chains looks like. If you went from a solid chain like this, or a solid strap, and the next thing you know, you see it moving, that load's loose. The load is loose. Pull over, tighten it up. Okay, so now you get to your delivery point. It is always recommended that within an hour or two, unless otherwise stated, that you reach out to the receiver and talk to them about, hey, I'm coming, I'll be there around noon. Make sure you have the equipment there, the people there necessary to unload this. Big places you don't have to worry about. Smaller places you do a lot, especially if you're delivering to a farm or a resident, something like that. Okay, so you get there, you speak to the receiver, or you find the receiving office. You tell them what you got, you get them on the roll to get you unloaded. They'll give you the instructions, either you back into a building or you pull around the side or whatever it is. So at that point, it's time to go out, back to your vehicle, follow the instructions. Once you get staged to where they want you, you can start unchaining or unstrapping what you got. Now, I will tell you, I always leave one or two straps on. So if it's a big piece, and I got two end straps, I'll always leave those two end straps, take everything else off, because inevitably somebody's going to want you to move it over or back up a little bit, and you don't want that thing falling over or coming loose. Now, if it's just a pallet of something, you can unstrap it and let it go, and you should be okay. Judge your situation by whatever you've got on there. If you got something tall and thin, leave it strapped until somebody else comes out there and gets a hold of it. Now, as soon as they lift that piece off your deck, not on the ground, nowhere else. As soon as they lift it off your deck, they own it. They need to bring it off the deck, set it down, and you be there with them with the bill of lading. And you have them print sign, and date that bill of lading. Print, sign, and date. Once you have that bill of lading, you're done with that load. Once it's signed, you're done. You pack up your gear and you get out of town and you go. Then you have to, whatever your next requirements are for your dispatch or for your factoring company, for Iggy 6, we have them take a picture of each page of the BOL and submit it in, and then we send the factoring in for them. So that's all taken care of, and they can concentrate on driving. Okay, I don't think I left anything out. If I did, please respond below. Let me know what you think of the truck. I like it. I hope you guys like it. I did it for the brothers and sisters out there. On the back side of it, you can see I have Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and first responders. We thank all of you guys. Really appreciate all you do for this country. Again, please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell for notifications. It's Bryan with DD214. Have a cup of coffee and enjoy the weekend. See you next time.